is the 4th of August 2023. Good morning, Africa farmers, and welcome to the Mid Morning Show. My name is Mary Oswero.
And my name is Regina Ayanai.
Yes, this is a farmers media where we connect, learn, and grow. And today is a very beautiful day, a bright day. It's Friday, tunaingia weekendi.
Yes.
That's why it's gonna psych sana. You know, we are always excited about the weekend.
Yeah, everybody loves Friday, including me. When you hear it's Friday, it's the end of the week. Tomorrow you're going somewhere. Yeah. Or you are sleeping until it's late.
Yes, those who love sleep like Ayan.
Yes.
Watafurahia Friday sana. It's a Friday morning, a very beautiful morning with a new topic, with a very beautiful topic today. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you, Mary?
I'm fine. You ready for today's topic?
Yeah, of course. I'm very ready to educate our viewers. Yeah.
Okay, you can tag along with us. We are live on Facebook at Farmers Media, on YouTube at Farmers Media, on Twitter at @farmers_media, and on our website www.afarmers.com.
Yeah. Once again, welcome to the one and only Mid Morning Show, where you get to learn, grow, and connect. And also, this is the place where you are able to connect with opportunities, to know more about what is really in the field of farming.
Yes, so you can tell a friend to tell a friend that we have already started. We are normally here from Monday to Friday from 11 to 1 p.m. This is the mid-morning show. Today we have a very interesting topic, greenhouse farming.
Yes, what do you understand by greenhouse farming?
Greenhouse farming basically is also known as protected cultivation. I believe that the moment you mention greenhouse, you already know.
Yeah, there is that picture in your mind already of a greenhouse.
Yes, for me, when I talk about greenhouse, the first thing that comes into my mind is like a white house. The only greenhouse I've seen are the white ones.
Yes, me too. Me too. I've seen only the white ones.
If you know any other color, if we have black, orange, yellow, maybe you can tell us. But the only color of greenhouse that I know is a white one.
Yeah, at first when I heard the word greenhouse, I used to think that maybe it's a house that is green. And I was picturing it in my mind. And then when I saw one, I was like, is this a greenhouse? Why do they call it a greenhouse then if it is not green? And then they told me it is called greenhouse because they grow those green crops inside that kind of place.
Yes, as a child, definitely you have to ask, why is it called greenhouse and it is white? I think I also asked that question at some point in my life. Yes, so greenhouse is basically a method of growing crops or plants in an indoor setting.
Yeah.
It's just like I said, it's a white house. Definitely now that's an indoor setting. That's what we call greenhouse. They're normally transparent. I've never seen an opaque greenhouse.
Yeah. No, not really. I don't really think that there is an opaque greenhouse, because greenhouses are mostly made with transparent things like maybe plastic or glass.
Yes, I'm yet to see the glass greenhouse. I've only met the plastic ones.
I've seen the glass greenhouse in the movies.
Oh, in the movies.
Yeah. You're waiting for me to say that I've seen it in real life, so that I know you wanted to tell me that. Now tell me where it is. I really want to see this.
Yes, I've never seen the glass ones. I think someone who has a glass one should just take a photo of it and send it to me so that I get to also see the glass greenhouse.
Yeah.
Even in those movies, I haven't seen them.
Yeah, and also to the owners of greenhouses outside there who are viewing right now, or we will come across this later on, please, if you have time and if you would like to educate people about this greenhouse, you can book the appointment on our Facebook page, and then we will get to educate farmers together.
Yes. If you have that glass greenhouse photo, please put it on the comment section. See it.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's our topic of the day, greenhouse farming. We hope that by the end of this topic, of this segment of this show, you'll familiarize yourself with different terms that we use in greenhouse, the effects, the challenges. There are also the advantages of greenhouse, by the way. We are not only going to talk about the bad things. Here we are here to also talk about the good things and educate you and emphasize on how you can manage the bad ones.
Yeah, to add on that, we are going to talk about the trends also in greenhouse, where we'll be able to learn about different trends that are currently in place or that are farmers' favorites, or what farmers doing with this greenhouse, including the types of greenhouses. I'm ready, and I'm really ready to tell you about greenhouse. I know Mary is also.
I'm so excited about this topic. I don't know if it's because it's Friday, but I'm so excited about today's topic. So make sure you keep it up, farmers, as we continue. Now, this is the mid-morning show. We are going to start with the advantages. Just like I said before, we focus on the good ones and emphasize on the bad ones, as we also give you the solutions.
Yeah.
Because definitely something that has an advantage must always have a disadvantage.
Yeah, if a greenhouse didn't have any advantages, then not many farmers would have practiced this kind of farming. But of course, it has its advantages. And one of the advantages is a controlled environment. You see, you can control an environment in a greenhouse. You can control the humidity in it, the temperature and the light levels, and also the soil conditions to create an ideal condition for plant growth. Because plants need a lot of things to grow. There are factors that influence the growing of plants in such kind of an environment, an enclosed environment, that is greenhouse. So plants require light, they require humidity, they require temperature. So for you to make sure that your plants are growing well in that kind of a greenhouse, you ensure that you are able to control the lighting inside there, the humidity and the temperature. So you can control the environment in that greenhouse. That is one of the advantage.
Yes, you don't have to wait for the sun. You can control everything.
Yes.
So greenhouse, having a greenhouse is so nice. Imagine, I'm not saying that we should compete with God, but imagine you're a small God.
Yes, you're a small God of your crops inside that small place.
You can easily control everything, the humidity, the temperature. Imagine being a small God in your farm.
Yeah, and also the kind of plants you grow inside that greenhouse.
Yes.
Yeah, so the control environment is very easy. It is very good also because through this you can manage your time. You are able to manage your time. I know that when it is the weather is this kind, I need to do this to my environment. But when you are in a large scale environment, like maybe you have 3 acres of land and you want to control such kind of an environment, so it will be very hard to control because it is in an open space. The sun there will be sunlight, a lot of sunlight. There will be temperatures will be high. You won't be able to do anything because it is in an open place. But in a greenhouse, you can control the environment of your crops and let them grow however you want.
Yes. So on to our next advantage, we have year-round production. This is what I mean when I talk about year-round production. A greenhouse enables the cultivation of crops throughout the year. Irrespective of external weather conditions, this can be particularly beneficial in regions with harsh winters or during periods of extreme weather. Just like our first point stated, you can control it. So by controlling it, definitely you can grow your crops throughout the year without even caring whether it's raining, whether it's so sunny, without even considering the weather. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who is controlling your own weather inside that greenhouse. When you want rain, you just use something like drip irrigation. You just irrigate it by yourself. And it's always warm. I've never been to a greenhouse that is cold. So you can always have your plants throughout the year without considering the weather conditions. And it is always beneficial in areas like Kayan's area, the semi-arid areas.
Yeah. You know, in those kind of areas that are prone to high temperatures, you can practice greenhouse farming because it will be very easy. You can be able to control when others are facing things like pest and diseases control. You are there controlling everything inside that greenhouse. It is small, yes. It is very easy to control that kind of a greenhouse.
And also, if you're from an area that experiences winter, because you know our viewers are not only from Kenya. So if you're from an area that experiences winter, greenhouse is the way to go. that winter won't affect your greenhouse. You will know how to manage your greenhouse in a way that your crops will just be growing even if it's during the winter season.
Yeah. So another advantage is disease and pest control. Through greenhouse farming, you will be able to control these kind of pests and diseases that may affect your plants or crops. So because it's an enclosed environment, the pests from outside other places cannot enter inside the greenhouse very easily unless you leave the door open. So through this, you'll be able to minimize the cost of buying chemicals. These are herbicides, pesticides. So it is very good that you won't have these bad costs. Yeah.
Actually, that's why when you're a greenhouse farmer, when you visit a greenhouse farmer, you realize that before you get into the greenhouse, there's always a basin of water. And that water has chemicals in it. Means that when you want to get inside that greenhouse, that is if that greenhouse is already prepared, maybe it's already prepared, the land preparation, or even if it has crops, you have to step into that water so that in case you had any pests or disease, actually let's just say diseases because pests come after that's tricky. In case you have any diseases that you maybe picked not knowing from where you came from, the chemicals will easily kill those diseases from your sole, from the sole of your shoes. So just get inside the greenhouse clean. There's maybe some farmers also encourage you to change.
Yes. So
some extra clothing that will cover if at all there's any disease in your dressing. Yes.
Greenhouse farming is a very good kind of farming because the greenhouse is sealed off from the external environment. So through this, the other thing that are affecting other gardens in the external can't affect the greenhouse because it is sealed from the inside, and through that you can't be able to transfer pest or receive pest from the external environment. So also ensuring the greenhouse is a effective approach. It is good that you ensure that the door to the greenhouse is always closed to prevent things like pests from entering inside, thus destroying your crops.
And actually, maybe to control that, because maybe your neighbors, not everybody will understand that they should not get into that greenhouse aimlessly or even leave the door open. Maybe you can have a poster, a warning that maybe says you don't allow an unauthorized person to get into that greenhouse.
Yeah, that can be a warning to prevent accidents happening from inside the greenhouse. So through that, you'll be able to manage your farming very well, and at the end of the road, you will have to harvest a lot of crops. Yeah, I've seen greenhouses. We had 2 greenhouses in my former high school, and we used to go like harvesting. Like the only day we went inside that greenhouse was during harvesting.
Oh, you were not allowed these other times?
Yes.
Tell us how they just opened the door and told you to get inside without even disinfecting your shoes.
Like that is when during harvesting. No, we don't take off our shoes. That is when you get punishment. They take us to the shamba. So when you go to the shamba, we are told that today is harvesting season. Mostly they take us during harvesting periods. So when you go to the inside the greenhouse, we harvest tomatoes. They used to plant tomatoes inside the greenhouse. So we harvest them, and then after harvesting, we clear everything else that is inside there. The dried crops, the remains of the potato plants after removing now the produce. Those the potatoes, yeah. So we harvest the potatoes, others wash the potatoes as we uproot the useless plants, the plants now after removing the potatoes fruits.
That was a useful punishment.
Yeah. So that was it, and we used to enjoy it a lot because we could skip lessons.
Hey.
For me, first of all, if it was if it was chemistry time, and I am chased out to go to the shamba, me and my friends, like we loved that because I didn't get anything in chemistry, honestly. So a greenhouse was a solace for me.
Yeah. Chemistry teacher should hear that.
Yeah. Even now, he used to ask me, "Have you learned anything from chemistry? Like, what has chemistry helped you in your life?" And I was like, I don't know even one term in chemistry.
Anyway, out our next advantage, we have the water efficiency. When you hear water, there's always life. We all can't survive without water. So you definitely, even if it's an enclosed environment, even if the greenhouse is an enclosed environment, you definitely need water. So because they're enclosed, greenhouses often use irrigation systems that can be more water efficient than traditional outdoor watering methods. Many utilize drip irrigation or misting systems which reduce water waste. Actually, the traditional methods of watering your plants, I only know of one. I think the one that I know of is kind of funny. You take your water in a basin and you just pour. I always believe that one, in one way or the other, it affects the soil. Because the moment you just pour water into the shamba with your basin, you didn't really target a particular crop.
Yeah, when you pour that kind of water, it can settle in one plant. So if it settles in that one plant, the soil become waterlogged. So through that, your plant will get swept away and other plants will bend during that process.
I'm telling you, that is what I used to do to us sukuma wiki back then. But anyway, when you're having a greenhouse, drip irrigation, I think, is the best way that you can handle the crops in the greenhouse with. So the drip irrigation, the water just comes out bit by bit, and it focuses on a plant. It focuses on each plant. Each plant maybe has a hole from the pipes that we use for drip irrigation, so they get enough water for them.
Yeah, and again, someone else told me that not to pour water like on the top of the plants, instead pour on the roots. But I never knew the reason why. But I was just told that it is not healthy to pour the water directly to the plant. You have to pour them on the roots so that they grow well.
Yes, actually, that's why we encourage drip irrigation. When you are farming, that's why we encourage drip irrigation, because definitely drip irrigation method, it will just focus on the roots.
Yes, and drip irrigation method is very, you can conserve a lot of water. Yeah, and to our next advantage, there is higher yields compared to traditional farming practices, because through greenhouse there are plants that you specifically concentrate on. Like you have planted sukuma wiki in that greenhouse, sukuma wiki, maybe you've planted sukuma wiki, you've planted tomatoes inside that greenhouse. So your focus will be on those plants that you have planted there. So by watering them daily, controlling the humidity, the temperature, and other factors, there are high chances that your produce will be plenty. Because you see, have you ever compared the greenhouse on your tomatoes and the ones from the market?
The traditional way, if you plant your tomatoes the traditional way and the greenhouse way.
Yes, you see that the greenhouse tomatoes are very healthy. They are attractive to the eyes. When you look at them, you see they are very red, they are shiny.
And actually, those ones that come from the greenhouse, you'll hear people who are not knowledgeable saying that hizo zimedungwa dawa.
Yeah, they always say that. I've heard most of the people say that. And you see that when the greenhouse tomatoes are even bigger than the traditional ones. So than the ones that are planted using traditional methods. So the tomatoes, they produce high produce in the greenhouse because the plants are having a good environment. Their environment is controlled. Compared to traditional farming. Traditional farming, they don't control the environment of their plants and their plants.
Because just the sun just comes out, it hits the crop.
Yeah.
You can't control it.
Yeah, they can't
Maybe
control
sometimes
it.
you've forgotten to irrigate the traditional way. Now that's another problem. You find that maybe if you planted tomatoes and you compare the greenhouse ones with these ones that are planted in the open air, the ones that are planted in the open air, maybe we forgot to irrigate. Jua imekuja ikazichapa, at the end of the day zimekauka, now they are so dry, they won't be healthy.
Yeah, and you know that the greenhouse, the soil is controlled in a certain way that it provides enough nutrients for the plants. So through that, they apply fertilizers inside that soil. They put nutrients. They water their plants regularly. They ensure that there are no pests and diseases in that greenhouse, because it is even hard to find pests and diseases inside a greenhouse because it is always taken care of compared to traditional methods. Traditional method, one can plant their plants in the field and leave them for them to mature. So they rarely go there. They only depend on the rains. The plants depend only on the rain, because you can't go, as a farm you have planted hectares of land, you can't go just pouring water in each and every plant. So they mostly depend on the rains, and that ends producing reduced yields, since some plants are affected by pests, so they reduce the amount of food that is produced in that farm.
Actually, I don't know if you've ever realized these ones that the crops that are planted are in the open air. The moment it rains, a farmer will not even go and check the crops.
Yeah, they only say, let them.
It has rained. Now we don't need to irrigate.
Yeah, you don't need to go to the shamba.
The amount of rain that has poured on your farm, maybe as hazijafika kwa roots, it was not that much. But since you just saw rain, just leave it there.
Yeah, and
even irrigate.
Yeah, and again, in greenhouse farming, it is easy to unpick the weeds that might be growing, and it's even rare to find weeds growing in a greenhouse, because you plant specific crops at specific time. You have tilled that soil. You have ensured that there are enough nutrients. You have tested the soil pH, so there is a small possibility that the weeds will grow in that greenhouse.
And also in greenhouse, most greenhouse farmers really take their time when preparing the land. It's prepared adequately, it's prepared well, in that even if you plant your crops there, you will just do well.
Yeah,
you don't even need to struggle that much.
Yeah, and greenhouse farming is not for all farmers. There are other farmers who can tolerate greenhouse farming. The farmers who are very dedicated, they can be able to do this greenhouse farming. But if you are a farmer who is not that hardworking, then greenhouse farming is not that good for you. But it also comes with challenges.
Anyway, let me talk about the final advantage of a greenhouse. You have a variety of crops. With the ability to control the environment, a wider variety of crops can be grown in a greenhouse that might not otherwise thrive in the local climate. I had already mentioned, in one greenhouse, you can have your tomatoes there, you can have your sukuma wiki, you can have your onions in just one greenhouse. Because definitely in a greenhouse, you don't just allow it just like that. Lazima ukuwe na mpangilio. You have to have order. There are lines. I don't know if my director will have those pictures so that I can show you. She can show you as you continue. There are lines. In a way, there are lines that are made in the greenhouse that are in order. So you can have the first row, you have tomatoes. The second row, you have sukuma wiki. The third row, you have onions. At the end of the day, when you're harvesting, you have so much.
Yeah, like you have a complete meal.
Yes.
Because you can take onions there, tomatoes, your sukuma wiki. You can cook sukuma wiki, onions, tomatoes. The only thing you buy is oil. Yeah, cooking oil.
Anyway, we were saying that anything that has an advantage has a disadvantage. But first of all, let's get into the challenges of greenhouse, because greenhouse also has challenges. It's a good one, but it also has challenges.
And nothing comes without challenges. Of course, as farmers, we are ready and very prepared to face this kind of challenges.
That's why you call yourself a risk taker.
Yeah, yes. So farmers are risk takers. They are always ready for anything, for any kind of challenges. That is why you started farming in the first place. So one of the challenges is initial investment and maintenance costs. Setting up a greenhouse is very costly, very costly, especially if you don't have enough money for that kind of farming. then it will be very impossible, because you need money to set up that plastic, to buy that plastic, the plastic stuff,
Yes.
the one that the plants are inside. Yeah, that one. You need to buy that plastic thing, and then you need to buy like equipment for controlling humidity, temperature, and they are very expensive. And again, maintaining greenhouse is very costly, because if the temperatures are high, you have to be there to control the temperatures. If there is a cooling effect, or you have to heat it. Like, there are very many things that you should consider.
Yes. And it should also be next to a water body. Like, you have to have water around, because you'll be practicing drip irrigation. Maybe you'll be practicing drip irrigation. Now you have to connect the pipes right from the water body to where your greenhouse is.
Yeah.
You also need those equipment that you use for drip irrigation. That one is money.
Yeah.
Buy them.
And then again, the type of people you employ in that greenhouse. You need to have experienced people who know everything about greenhouse. Because if you don't know anything about greenhouse and you are trying to practice this kind of farming, then your greenhouse will definitely fail, because at first you need to research.
Even if the person who you are employing, your laborer, is not so conversant with the greenhouse, that person has to be ready to be trained. You have to train that person. Maybe you are the one who is so conversant with the greenhouse farming, but now you need a hand.
Yeah, you need a backup.
Yes. And the only option that you have is someone who is not so experienced. We encourage that, first of all, before you leave that greenhouse in that person's hand, train that person.
Yeah.
Tell that person what should be done, how he or she will be controlling the irrigation system, the way he or she will be controlling the humidity, maybe anything that is in the greenhouse, how everything functions. You have to explain to him or her.
You can also set up rules on your greenhouse. Maybe you should close the door after entering in, or after getting outside. You should ensure that the door is closed. So through that, your greenhouse will be in safe hands, and also you won't be infested with pests and diseases.
Yes. So another challenge is technical knowledge. I think we've explained a brief part of technical knowledge, but let me expound more on it. Managing a greenhouse requires a certain level of technical knowledge and expertise. Farmers must understand how to adjust environmental factors to optimize our plant growth, and how to identify and manage potential problems. Definitely in the greenhouse you'll meet problems each and every day. As a farmer, there are always problems each and every day. So you have to know how to handle them. You don't just get into your greenhouse and you realize, there are pests, maybe they got in there by mistake, and now you want to destroy everything.
Yeah.
Pests are there.
And before you indulge into greenhouse, you should know the environmental factors, how they affect this kind of a greenhouse, and how they affect the environment.
And you should have solutions. And you should not give up. That's why we are saying you have to have the technical knowledge. You don't just start something and you don't know how you'll handle. I know of a farmer who started the greenhouse farming in my place. It didn't go so well. I think he just lacked the technical knowledge. It didn't go so well. And kidogo now, the greenhouse, I just saw the white part, the plastic part was just tearing. He had given up. I don't know what really happened, but he had just given up, and the greenhouse was just there. At the end of the day, you've lost a lot of money. That's why before you start something, you have to have the technical knowledge. How am I going to set up, first of all, this greenhouse?
The budgeting.
Yes. You have to plan. After planning, in that planning process, you have your budget. The moment you have your budget, you know how what each and every cost of whatever you're going to buy, and then know how you set up that greenhouse.
Yes.
It has a pattern, definitely. Usiona ya mtu, then you just feel, this one I'll just do it this way and it stands. Greenhouses are different. You're going to talk about the different types of greenhouse later on as you continue. But now you have to know, I'm bought this type of greenhouse and this is how it should stand. This is how I'm going to set it up. So that technical knowledge is very, very key and crucial.
Yeah, and you can get this type of technical knowledge in different sites. You can go to social media, look for greenhouses, know everything about greenhouses. You can also approach approach farmers who have these kind of greenhouses. Ask them the challenges they face. Don't only ask for the advantages, also ask for the challenges so that you can get prepared for what is coming.
Do you know that you can visit a farmer who has greenhouse, and then he or she enlightens you or helps you know more about greenhouse, and he or she doesn't mention the challenges, and then you just go and start your greenhouse.
Yeah, that is why. Yeah.
And then you start blaming that farmer. You did tell me that this thing has problems.
Yeah, that's why you should ask both the challenges, the negative effect, and the positive effect, so that you will be prepared. Even if you go and set up that kind of a greenhouse, then you know this might happen. Farmers take risks. So if you want to risk anything, then be prepared for the outcome.
Yes.
And then another challenge is environmental impact. Greenhouse have a very, it can have both positive and negative factors. So setting up a greenhouse consume energy, especially if they are heated or artificially lit. There are other greenhouses that are being heated and others are artificially lit. Through that, they provide lights. For example, you can find a greenhouse at night, like in Awakatu, the lights are on.
Yes.
So it consumes a lot of energy, and then this can lead to higher carbon footprint unless renewable energy sources are used. So there are other sources of energy that can be used that are renewable. For example, the solar panels and the wind turbines. So when you use the solar panels, you get the source from the sun, right? So it won't be that costly. The only costly thing you will have is buying the solar system. So if you use this kind of lighting in your greenhouse, the solar panels, then it won't be very costly. But most of the times, the people use this light, they heat it using artificial light. So through this, they consume a lot of energy, and thus releasing this carbon into the air. Through
Actually, when you decide to use it, that's why we are saying these are challenges, because maybe you don't have that solar panel. You don't have the solar panel. Now, the only option maybe you're remaining with is the electricity, which is very, very expensive. Using the energy maybe from the KPLC. It will be very expensive now that at size the economy combaya, and now you're having a greenhouse and you just have to use that power, that kind of power. You have to be ready to be paying.
Yeah.
And you don't give up.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge. Now you have to be ready for that challenge.
Yeah, and you know it might take a long time before you collect all these requirements for a greenhouse, because by the time you buy a solar system, you buy the technical things needed inside that greenhouse, the greenhouse itself, the seeds, everything that you need in that greenhouse. So it might be very expensive.
And you know, you also can't set up a greenhouse by yourself. You need people.
Yeah, you need people. You need labor.
You need experts who know how to set up that greenhouse. Otherwise, you'll find yourself setting up that greenhouse in an opposite way.
Yeah, greenhouse is a labor-intensive type of farming. It needs a lot of labor.
So that's a challenge. If you want to get into greenhouse farming, you have to be ready. Ready for anything.
Yeah, continue watching us live on YouTube at farmersmedia.com, at farmersmedia, in Facebook at farmersmedia, on our website at www.farmersmedia.com.
Yes, we are also on Twitter at a farmers with the Z _ media. This is a farmers media where we connect, we learn, and grow together. So ensure that you tag along with us as we discuss our topic of today, greenhouse farming. I told you this is a very, very interesting topic. I hope up to this point you're already learning something. You already know the advantages of greenhouse. We are starting with the good ones. You know, when you want to keep people here, you have to mention the good things.
Yeah, because when you mention the bad side, of course, they won't want to listen. Not everybody wants to listen to their bad side.
At least we attract you with the good ones. Then after hearing the good ones, now you'll ask yourself, these ones are just good ones. I'm facing this kind of challenge. How do I do it?
Yeah, but also there are other inquisitive people who always want to know the both sides of the story. So welcome again to our Farmers Media, where we connect, learn, and grow.
Ensure you comment. If you have any question that you'd like us to answer, send us your questions under the comment section. Send us your feedbacks. We'll ensure that we answer all of them and read all your comments. We really appreciate you as our viewers, and we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and be part of the family. Our Farmers Media is a family, so we encourage you that the moment you subscribe, You are part of our family. You are a farmer, and we are also farmers. So the moment you subscribe, you join the farming family of Farmers Media.
Yeah, remember this is the mid-morning show where we have to get a deep understanding of what really fuels our farm. Welcome again.
Yes, so we said that we have several types of greenhouses. Not just the one that you see in your village. Maybe you just know one greenhouse. Like me, I used to know just one, the white one. I used to believe that that white greenhouse, that is the only greenhouse I know.
And you know that white greenhouse has different types.
Yes.
It can be white, but it is not similar with the other one.
Yes, I didn't have that knowledge, and I also realized that there's a greenhouse that you can just make for yourself at home without even buying.
I used to say also greenhouse is just a greenhouse. So when I see anything, it's a greenhouse. Like I don't know how to say that this is this type of a greenhouse. But right now I can tell someone, you know, this is a greenhouse, yes, but it's a certain type.
You feel like an expert?
Yeah, I'm already feeling like an expert.
Okay, we have different types of greenhouses. The first type of greenhouse is lean to greenhouses. Actually, this one is a very, very interesting type of greenhouse. I don't know if most of you know it. I really doubt if you know it. I think I've just seen it in a certain clip. This type of greenhouse, I've seen it in a certain Chinese clip. Yes.
Okay.
It's called lean to greenhouses. Let me explain to you what it is. These are designed to fit against a house or a building and have a lean to roof structure. This type of greenhouse has to be constructed next to a house, and it's leaning on a house. I don't know if you're already picturing whatever I'm picturing. They are usually the least expensive and easiest to construct, but offer limited space. Definitely they will offer limited space because they're already leading to your house.
Yes.
And the roof is also leading to your house in one way or the other. For example, let me try and demonstrate it to you so that you understand it.
Yeah.
One side of your house, the wall, the one side of your house, the wall on one side of your house, I think you'll understand it that way. You have a greenhouse that you construct by yourself. Just using the plastic. I doubt if glass can work on this. Just using the plastic, do I say bag? It's not a bag. The plastic material that we use for greenhouse. And then you ensure it leans on the wall of your house. And also when you're constructing the roof should also at least touch the house. Yoishike yote so that it looks like a house.
Like, what is the purpose of the leaning of the greenhouse towards the house?
I think that wall will also act as part of the greenhouse.
Okay.
Yes. It will also help. Now that side is not part of the door. We have a door on this other side.
Okay.
The other side is just a wall. That's why I think it's called lean to greenhouse. It is usually cheap. It's not expensive because you are doing it yourself. You're not going to buy them. You're not going to buy the materials. You're constructing it yourself.
Yeah, so, then you should do that. If you can afford that kind of a greenhouse, then you should definitely start that with lean.
I believe it's so hard to construct. That's why they're saying that it's less expensive. It's hard to construct because you know you're not going to buy these things, so you have to be ready for thorough labor.
Yeah, but again, don't buy just cheap things. Look at the quality also. If it is a good quality, you know, people don't know this, that when buying this kind, let's say greenhouses, people just buy the cheap ones. And you don't know that the cheap one are more expensive than the expensive one, because you install the cheap greenhouse, the greenhouse with the cheap material. So when you install it, it tears. In like 2 months or 3 months, it tears. You replace. It tears again. You replace. You see. So you have tripled the expensive material. So when you buy the greenhouse, make sure that you buy a good quality, because it can last than the cheap one.
Actually, I think these lean to greenhouse. Even wind can blow them away.
Yeah. You see now. So it is very good that you buy a very good quality.
I think that one, don't try that at home. If you want to practice greenhouse farming, just be ready with enough money so that you buy quality. Quality is important. Don't just look at, now this one is cheap and I'm in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry. When you want to start greenhouse farming, you have to plan so that you do the right thing, so that you see the benefits of doing that, practicing that greenhouse farming.
Yeah, and another type of greenhouse farming is called freestanding greenhouses. What do you like? What do you think when about freestanding greenhouses? The first thing that comes in your mind when you hear freestanding greenhouses, what do you imagine?
I think, okay, let me try and explain it in my own perspective. Freestanding, it is just by itself.
Yes, now I got you. It is like that. So they stand alone. They are alone structures, and also they can be built for various sizes. So when you hear freestanding, then they are standing alone. Yeah, so they are standalone
So
structures.
they're not like several greenhouses. It's just one.
Yes, it stands alone. That's why it's called freestanding greenhouses. So they can be of various sizes. You can find a small freestanding greenhouse. You can find a big one. You can find a medium sized, and also they can accommodate more plants and often are used for commercial production. So these freestanding greenhouses can be installed and planted many crops. You can plant a lot of crops. There are more crops compared to lean greenhouse. So through this, you'll be able to get a lot of profits, and mostly you can find that the farmers that in agriculture for commercial purposes, the farmers who are planting crops for commercial purposes, they are mostly using these kind of freestanding greenhouses, because through that they'll be able to plant a lot of plants inside that greenhouses, and as a result they improve the production.
I think those freestanding greenhouses must be so big.
Yeah,
they're used for commercial purposes.
Yes, so you can plant various plants inside there, so it can accommodate more plants compared to lean greenhouse.
Do you think they practice they use the green repeat the name,
freestanding greenhouses. Yeah.
To plant flowers, because in Kenya we export flowers.
Yeah.
From Naivasha. Do you think they use that one?
Yeah, I think they use that one, because for you to do to put on freestanding greenhouse, you have to have more space, because it accommodates a lot of space. You can start planting the greenhouse from a very large distance, and then it covers more space. So through that, it gives space for growth of different plants and mini plants. And again, it can become more expensive to heat and cool these kind of greenhouses.
It's so big.
Yeah, it's so big, and you're going to use a lot of energy. May it be you're using natural artificial light, or you're using renewable energy, or you're using solar panels. So it can consume a lot of a greenhouse.
I think in that type of greenhouse you also need more than one laborer.
Yeah, of course.
A challenge. You have to have money, enough resources.
Yes.
In order for you to hire so many people. So when you are into that freestanding greenhouse.
Yeah, I saw more than 100 greenhouses in Nanyuki at once. Like, we visited a farm that is located in Nanyuki, a place called Karionga or Muthaiga, something like that. Yeah, Muthaiga, towards Karionga. I know that there's a place called Karionga. When you past there, there is a place called Muthaiga. I think it is Muthaiga. They have a very huge garden, a very huge farm. It consists of many greenhouses, and you know what they grow inside those greenhouses? They grow green peas, the French beans. Yeah, they grow the French beans inside there. They grow sukuma wiki inside there. So I was so surprised to see those kinds of things, and but I wasn't that curious to know why they place such kind of greenhouses in that place. So I bet I saw a freestanding greenhouse, because I saw one that was very huge, and it was at the far end of the farm.
I think if you want to venture into the freestanding greenhouse farming, you have to be someone who is planting, maybe to take to a factory. that they manufacture from, because you'll be getting you'll be getting a lot of yields. Now where will you take all of them? Maybe the market is not so good. So what I'd advise, if you want to venture into freestanding greenhouse, make sure you're growing crops that you'll be taking maybe to a factory. Yes. Like in Naivasha where they grow flowers, those ones they grow to export. So there are no losses there.
I've seen many flower farms in Naivasha, by the way. Even on the roadside, you can find that the people are selling flowers, a lot of flowers. Yeah. So when you venture into this freestanding greenhouse, make sure that you have enough space. If you decide that I'm going to go into, I want to do lean greenhouse, let me do a freestanding greenhouse. So if you decide to do that, then you should have a lot of space. You should have a large farm, and then plant. Also in that greenhouse, plant different kinds of plants. You can plant onions, tomatoes, and sukuma wiki inside that farm. And also if you have someone, a customer who is specifically interested in your crops, so you make sure that you grow them in a well conditioned environment. Make sure that you control your temperatures, your humidity in that greenhouse, so that your plants will grow more healthy, and through that you can also attract more customers.
And also ensure you have a good market for your produce. Don't just grow your crops there and then at the end of the day they will spoil. Ensure you have a good market. By the time you're venturing into this freestanding greenhouse farming, ensure you have a good market, so that by the end of the day, by the end of the season, when you're harvesting your crops, you're not harvesting to keep, because you find it's a big greenhouse.
Yeah, that's why we always encourage all farmers to make sure that they do research on the market before they engage in any kind of farming activity.
Okay, the next type of greenhouse is Gothic greenhouse. These greenhouses have a pointed arch roof that helps snow to slide off and allows more sunlight to penetrate the structure. I think this type of greenhouse, they're mainly found abroad where there's always winter, because you can imagine it's a winter season and you have these kawaida greenhouses, and then there is snow. Do you know that when there is so much snow, they get so attached to a building that maybe sometimes you can't even get.
Yeah. I've seen that in movies though, because I've not seen that kind of snow in real life. I only saw the snow that happened in Nyahururu 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago.
Was it snow?
Yeah, it snowed. But not the type of snow that snowed in like US. The snow there was like, it was ice. Yeah. So people were saying, you're going to not the white one, not the one that you usually see in the movies, the soft one that people lie and then do their things there. People came from different places, even from Nairobi to Nyahururu, just to look at the snow. Yeah. But I hope one day it snows in Kenya.
Just travel to US if you want to see even the Gothic greenhouses. Anyway, this type of, they have a pointed arch roof that helps snow to slide off. So when you want to plant your crops inside a Gothic greenhouse, and you're in actually when you want to venture into farming and you're maybe in an area that it snows, ensure that you have a Gothic greenhouse, because definitely even that snow will not affect that greenhouse. The snow will just be sliding down. And your crops will be safe, and you will be able to get into the greenhouse when you want to maybe harvest, because if there's so much snow and it attaches to the door of your greenhouse,
you won't be able to open it.
Yes. So you won't be able to control anything that is in the greenhouse. You won't even be a small god now.
Yeah.
Looking at your greenhouse from afar. So we encourage Gothic greenhouse farming when you are in a place that snows.
Yeah, during winter, like winter seasons. So make sure that your greenhouse is in a condition that it can prevent this snow from getting inside. So you make sure that you have covered each and every space inside that greenhouse, because when plants are affected by cold, they can end up dying. Because when there is too much cold and there is no enough temperature, then your plants are likely to die. And then onto the next type of greenhouse, there is dome or round greenhouse. So when you hear round greenhouse, of course you picture in your mind that it is round.
Yes.
And what is the purpose of this round greenhouse? They offer maximum sun exposure by having a rounded design that allows the sun to reach to the parts of the interior. So when they are round like that, through that their roundness offer the enough exposure to the plants. So when when there is enough sunlight, the round figure. When you see that there are different types of greenhouses. They are the ones that they are rectangular in shape.
Yes.
The others that are round. So this type of round greenhouse, they ensure that enough sunlight is getting inside that greenhouse, and also ensure that plants get that enough sunlight.
I've never seen the round greenhouse. I don't know if you met them in movies.
I've not seen that in movies though. But when the round greenhouse, according to the research, the round greenhouse ensures that the sunlight gets into the interior of the greenhouse. So through that, the plants each and every plant is able to get enough sunlight, because it is very hard to find shadows in that kind of greenhouse. It is round, so it is impossible for shadows. So for formation of shadows in that greenhouse, that will prevent the plants from getting enough sunlight.
That's a very interesting greenhouse. I'd like to really see how it looks like. I even get inside. I'm just picturing it, and in my mind it just looks like a round tent. I don't know why.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking at it as a round tent or a house, or even a house. In a place they are round houses. They make round houses. So the first thing that came in my mind when I heard of a round greenhouse is my place, because I come from a place where people make houses with sticks, but they make different kinds of houses. But most of them are round, and the others are like these. I don't know, the rectangular at the top. Yeah. Now they call it
triangle. It has the triangle shape on top.
Yeah, the hats. These are the manyata. They call it the manyata. Now the manyata, they have the triangle shape at the top, but they call it a hat. Like valisha kofia. Like I'm going to make a house and then give it a hat. But the other said, I'm not going to make a hat house, because also when you do manyata, the manyata houses, they are it's very hard to make such kind of houses with the triangular shape at the top. But the round ones are very easy to make. So that applies to the round greenhouses, because they are even it looks like it's even easy to construct. If we imagine like constructing a triangular greenhouse, a rectangular greenhouse, and a round greenhouse, which is more likely to be easy to construct?
I think the rectangular one.
I don't think
the between a triangular and a
rectangular greenhouse.
The
one that is in the shape of a rectangle, and then the one that is round.
A round one.
Yeah.
I think a round one is so easy.
Yeah.
According to me, it's just like throwing a ball.
Yes. It's maybe there is something that they flip and then it just becomes round. But the one that is a triangular one, I think so, I don't know. But the one that is a triangular type of greenhouse, they place different kind of things, because for a rectangular greenhouse to stand well, you have to place different things.
I believe they use these how do I call them?
Maybe you can put the ions. I don't know.
Yes.
Those at the end, different ends, 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 6 or 8,
according to how big your greenhouse is. Okay. At this point, I think we've talked so much. We need to take a short break.
Yes.
And drink some little water before we come back. This is the Mid Morning Show, and this is a Farmers Media, where we connect, learn, and grow. And
don't forget to follow us on social media handles at a Farmers Media in Facebook, at a Farmers Media in Facebook, at a Farmers Media with a Z in Twitter, at www.afarmersmedia.com on our website. Stay tuned.
Mingi sasa hata sasa nashangaa unasema ulikuwa unasema nini?
Installing drip irrigation on your
Na
farm
kusikia kwa umbali
will
basi
save you
kwa shwa
both
kitu
time and
nasema.
money. So, how does it work? Firstly,
Hatuna
get the
content.
right equipment.
Meisha.
You will need a tank, drip lines, and a pipe that
Hatuna
connects the two.
zinaisha.
Little holes in the drip lines let water out slowly straight
Thank
to
you.
the crop.
Hata
This
ingekuwa
way,
mvua ingekuwa
the crop
afadhali.
leaves
Amesema?
stay dry and free
tuweke
from
four.
mildew. The tank needs to be raised onto a stand about 1.5 meters high. This will make sure water can flow down with gravity.
So that tukirudi tunamaliza
Also be
tunamaliza
easily
waste
used
yetu. That's
with
all we
solar
had for you.
power.
The system includes a solar panel of 310 watts. It comes with a solar
sawa.
pump. Then together with some fittings to install the pump and deliver water to wherever you want to take water. Once you install the system, you will have no monthly charges. In the long run, it's cost
Acha
effective.
nilikuwa nangoja umalize,
Walai.
nimechoka. Nakwambia nilishikwa na kizunguzungu,
Advent of
usikii?
technology.
Ukiwacha video
The
utaona
heart of
nimefanya
any
hivi.
shamba
Nilishikwa na
lies in its
kizunguzungu.
soil. Because soil is so precious, it needs to be managed really carefully. Is with a soil test. This will tell you how healthy your soil is, its pH levels, what type of soil it is, which crops you can grow in the soil, and advice on which fertilizer is best to use. If you follow the soil test recommendations, it can boost your yields. So, how do you take a soil test sample? Firstly, dig up soil samples. Use a soil auger or panga to take a sample 1 feet deep in a zigzag pattern across your shamba. You will need at least 10 samples. Mix all the different samples together in a bucket. The soil is now ready to be scanned and tested. You can find out about how to get your soil tested by contacting your extension officer. Alternatively, contact a Ministry of Agriculture research station near you. A soil test costs about as much as 1 bag of maize. You should do a soil test at least every 3 to 5 years. Installing drip irrigation on your farm will save you both time and money. So, how does it work? Firstly, get the right equipment. You will need a tank, drip lines, and a pipe that connects the two. Little holes in the drip lines let water out slowly straight to the crop. This way, the crop leaves stay dry and free from mildew. The tank needs to be raised onto a stand about 1.5 meters high. This will make sure water can flow down with gravity. Drip irrigation can also be easily used with solar power.
The system includes a solar panel of 310 watts. It comes with a solar pump. Then together with some fittings to install the pump and deliver water to wherever you want to take water to. Once you install the system, you'll have no monthly charges. In the long run, it's cost effective.
Welcome back to the mid-morning show. This is a Farmers Media where we connect, learn, and grow. We've already taken some little water. Now we have the energy to continue.
Yes.
Make sure you tag along with us. We are live on Facebook at A Farmers Media, on YouTube at A Farmers Media, on Twitter at A Farmers with the Z_media, and on our website www.afarmers.com.
Once again, welcome to Mid Morning Show, the one and only show that take us to the deep world of what fuels our farm.
Yes, before we went for a break, we talked about the advantages of greenhouse, the challenges of greenhouse, and now we're just tackling the types of greenhouses. But now, before we continue,
Yes.
we already talked about the challenges, but I'd like to know, as a farmer, if you've ever practiced greenhouse farming. Maybe you can tell us in the comment section what are some of the challenges that you've gone through, that you went through when you got into greenhouse farming.
Yeah.
You know, farmers face different challenges, but now this is now greenhouse farming. You as a greenhouse farmer, what are some of the challenges?
Yeah.
Inform our viewers on the comment section.
Yeah, and again, how comes many greenhouses have been abandoned recently? Why is it that many people have abandoned their greenhouses? You can tell us.
Maybe we can discuss that a little bit. What do you think happens? I already told you a story of a farmer whom I knew back in my place, who was abandoned his greenhouse. In your thoughts, what do you think? What do you think about farmers abandoning greenhouses? What can really cause such a thing to happen?
For me, I think one of the things that can make farmers abandon their greenhouses is variety of crops. You know, there are other crops that can survive in a greenhouse, but others can't. And you know that different crops have different growth requirements in terms of temperature, light, humidity. So when they find it difficult to control these kind of factors in that greenhouse, they tend to abandon their greenhouses.
I think also distance applies at this point. When you're a greenhouse farmer, I think even if you have a laborer, always be ready to go and check what's happening in your greenhouse. Always be ready to know what is really going on in my area, in my greenhouse. You might think that your laborer is doing well, and maybe there's something that he or she needs training on, and you have to go and train him or her on whatever he or she is supposed to do. So you have to be close. You have to be an observant farmer. You have to be a farmer who follows up in order for you to get good yields at the end of the day from your greenhouse farming. Ayan already told us that when you're a greenhouse farmer, definitely you'll be getting good yields because you can control everything that happens in your greenhouse. So the moment you're just far away and you don't even visit the greenhouse, you just leave it for your workers to do everything. At the end of the day, maybe you might incur losses.
Yeah, and I also think that another thing that makes the farmers abandon their greenhouses is the climatic factors. You know, it is very difficult to control these kind of factors, and they are very unpredictable. You can't know when they are very unpredictable. Climate changes, yes, it changes with time. But sometimes, as a farmer, you don't have that ability to control these kind of things. They just happen. So many farmers are faced by these climatic factors, like maybe there is drought, there is no water for the greenhouses. So through that, they are able to abandon their greenhouses.
But I think even if there is drought and you're practicing greenhouse farming, you don't need a river or a lake. You can drill a borehole. Then you use water from there.
But where will you drill a borehole if there is drought? Even if you drill a borehole, like it will take a lot of time because the ground is already dry. The water has gone even deeper and further from the ground.
That's why we are saying when you're practicing greenhouse farming, you have to be ready, you have to plan so that you know not all boreholes dry up, by the way.
Yeah.
You have to plan and know that now that I'm going to practice greenhouse, I don't have to depend on the river.
But now, not all farmers have that kind of humility or knowledge, or they don't have that kind of patience to wait for them.
That's why I encourage farmers to go for trainings. You know, the moment you go for trainings, you definitely know, at this point I should drill a borehole in this part. I want to practice greenhouse farming. I should know when to drill my borehole because you can't just depend on the rivers. When drought comes, maybe your rivers will dry up. So the best way, go for trainings.
And also get much knowledge about what is really happening in greenhouses. Make sure that your educational background towards this greenhouse is the best, so that when you are faced with these kind of challenges, you won't give up. You won't give up on this greenhouse of yours and ending up abandoning it. So you should also learn a lot about greenhouse. Make sure that you have explored all the aspects of managing greenhouses.
Do you think greenhouses can work in your place?
I don't think they can work in my place, especially because people in my place are very, like, most of them are not cannot afford that kind of farming, greenhouse farming.
Let's assume now we get donors who are donating the greenhouses to them.
Yes.
Do you think they can manage?
I don't think they can manage. Still, like Siwadarau, I know they can do that. They are capable. They have that capability of managing a greenhouse. But what they lack is knowledge of managing that greenhouse. And again, the environment in our place is very severe to that kind of farming. Like for example, the greenhouse.
But now, the moment you have a greenhouse, you are your own god in that greenhouse.
Yeah, but the source of water is very far from where we live. So we go kilometers and kilometers to look for water. So there is no way I can look for water for my greenhouse, yet I myself, I need water for my other things. I need water to drink, I need water to wash clothes. So I can't tell myself that I'm going to fetch water. I'm going to employ people who are going to fetch water from that kind of rivers to water my greenhouse. Instead, you'll be investing much on buying water than they think that you are going to harvest in that greenhouse.
How about drilling boreholes?
Yeah, drilling boreholes. It is very hard because drilling boreholes, the ground is very hard in our area, and before you drill, before water comes out of that borehole, you'll have dug and dug and dug and dug. You see, so it is very hard for those things, and also it can be prone to pests and diseases because livestock are very many in that area, and you can find that there are a lot of diseases in that area due to livestock that can affect the plants, especially the pests. There are other things. There are other types of pests that can affect a greenhouse that are transferred from animals.
Can I give you a challenge? Maybe this challenge you can maybe practice it in future. I know maybe you might not get married in that place, but I want to give you a challenge.
Okay.
In years to come, ask me if you've done it.
If I've done what exactly?
The challenge that I'm going to give you right now.
Okay.
You said your greenhouse can't survive in your place. I'm going to give you lots of money.
Okay.
I want you to try greenhouse farming in your place.
I don't think I can try it, honestly.
That's why I'm saying it's a challenge.
Like honestly,
It might work.
Let me tell you, I'm not ready to take risk. Even if I told people that farmers take risk, I don't think I'm going to take that kind of a risk because when you see it in both sides, like you can see it in the negativity side and then you see on the positivity side. Yes, it can have a lot of positive things about while growing it, but again you look at the negative side, and according to me, after thinking about it, seeing that the negative side can affect me much more than the positive side, I decided that I'm not going to grow that greenhouse in that place because I'll end up getting losses.
So and as a challenge.
Yeah, and as a farmer, and also time. Greenhouse requires time. I don't have that kind of time to, even if I had enough money, I wouldn't have.
Just say you don't want to stay in Samburu.
No, I love Samburu. It's the best place in the world. In fact, I love Samburu because it's my homeland. I love it. But the thing is, it's just impossible to do a green. But I forgot. Sorry, I forgot. There are people having greenhouses in our area. Why did I forget that? Yeah. Okay, but let me tell you, the only thing that they are growing in that greenhouse that can thrive, they grow the bananas inside there. The banana. Not the bananas. The spinach. Yeah, they grow spinach inside that kind of greenhouses. But it's not in my place where I live. It is far away from there.
But it's
so across the river.
Samburu.
Yeah, it is still within Samburu. I was talking about where I live. Yeah, I was talking about where I live. The place where they set up the houses, it is very rare. It is even rare. In fact, there is no greenhouse around that place.
But is there a difference between where you live and where that greenhouse is?
Yes, there is a difference. The distance.
No, leave alone the distance. I'm talking about see, it's a semi-arid area. So the whole place is just a semi-arid area.
Yeah.
I can't talk about distance.
Yeah, it's a semi-arid area, but now the river where we fetch water is different from the river where the greenhouses are being grown. Yeah. Because if they had grown the greenhouses in the where we fetch our water, across on the river banks, I don't think the greenhouses will manage because a lot of livestock graze over there. There are many things that can affect that kind of greenhouses, and also the pests.
You just have excuses.
They can't
just get money and
let me tell you. Let me tell you something. I know because I come from that area, so you don't have any point of view about that. Let me tell
The
you.
best thing I can tell you is just if you get money, just go and help your community people and drill a bowl next to your home.
No, it's not that they have never tried putting a greenhouse there. Many people have tried and they failed. So instead, they went to another side of the river to plant those kind of greenhouses. So you can find that I think they are countable.
Oh.
The greenhouse, they mainly grow these greenhouses in the forests. Most of them are towards the forest, but not where people are, because they can get a lot of disadvantages from growing those kind of things.
It's okay. I can see you've really argued. You don't want my challenge.
No, not really. Not that I don't want your challenge. It's just that also greenhouse needs time. It needs dedication. It needs dedication. And I'm not dedicated in growing a greenhouse. And again, I'm not passionate about these greenhouses stuff. So if I grow it will be out of winning a challenge, not out of my love for farming or my love for this greenhouse. Yeah.
Okay. The last type of greenhouse that you have is called a dome/ground greenhouses. I think we talked about it. These offer maximum sun exposure by having a rounded design that allows the sun to reach all parts of the interior. We already tackled that type of greenhouse. I think we really expounded enough on that type of greenhouse. Yes, so we are still live on YouTube at Farmers Media, on Facebook at Farmers Media, on Twitter at @farmers_media. Our website is still www.afarmers.com. Sending in your comments, your feedbacks, if you have questions. And before I forget, I said that if you're a farmer, this is a request. If you're a farmer who has practiced a greenhouse farming and has a glass greenhouse, maybe you can take a photo of it and put it in the comment section so that I also get to see, because Ayan has seen the glass greenhouse in movies.
You can also decide to visit us. You can book an appointment, come and educate other farmers about this greenhouse farming and tell them maybe you are more experienced about this kind of greenhouse farming. So you'll be able to talk to farmers, tell them how this works, and through that we'll be able to learn from each other. And you can't know that there is someone who will take you as a role model or as a motivation to start that kind of farming.
Our main topic is still greenhouse farming, a very, very interesting topic. I just learned that we cannot even grow onions in our greenhouses. I'm sorry about that if at all it's lived in our tanks and we mentioned onions are not grown in greenhouses. So don't go and try growing onions and say that people from a Farmers Media told me to grow onions in the greenhouse. No.
Yeah, and if you have any knowledge about really why we are not growing this type of onions in greenhouses, kindly in the comment section just scribble something so that you can be able to also tell others why they shouldn't grow onions inside the greenhouse.
Yes, moreover, the advent of technology also has made precision farming possible in greenhouse farming.
Yeah.
So we are going to expound more on that. Yes, first of all, you have automated irrigation. You can use automated irrigation in greenhouses. Smart systems can monitor soil moisture levels and automatically water plants when needed, reducing water waste and labor. When you have the automated irrigation, these ones are just automatic. You don't have to control them. They're so automatic. I don't know, we use power. Definitely we have to use power when you want to use something that is automatic. Yes. So when you have the automated irrigation, it's so easy. You don't need so much energy.
Yes.
So much energy when irrigating your crops in your greenhouse. So use of automated irrigation is also one way, a technology that we can use in order for our greenhouses to grow healthy crops.
Yeah, first of all, let me read the comments from the Facebook. There's someone saying, Noah, hi Noah, hope you are still watching us. Noah says that what is the cost associated with using greenhouses as compared to open field?
Okay, what is the cost associated with using greenhouses as compared to open field? I think as much as setting up a greenhouse might be a little bit expensive, but at the end of the day, when you are harvesting from that greenhouse, you get good yields.
Yeah, but open field is a good type of a good type of farming practice, because open field, it is very cheap to operate an open field compared to a greenhouse.
But as much as it's cheap, when you compare the open field and the greenhouse, you'll set up a greenhouse expensively, but your crops will I believe when you're so keen with your crops, you're always following up, you get your crops, you control the pests and diseases inside the greenhouse, you'll get good yields, and the money that you used to set up the greenhouse will come back. But when I look at the open fields, hapo umejua umeachia ulimwengu, like you just want the rains to come. If you don't irrigate it well, maybe your yields will not be as much as the ones that you get from the greenhouse. So when I compare the greenhouse and the open field, I believe greenhouse farming, you'll produce so much and you get lots of profits from the greenhouse farming.
Okay, for me, what I think, like, I disagree with you. Because you're telling me that, you're telling us that you will get a lot of crops from greenhouse, a lot of profit from greenhouse. But again, you know, in an open field, it is not limited. You can plant acres and acres of land in one field, but in a greenhouse, it is limited to a specific number of crops. You can overplant a greenhouse, but in an open field, you can overplant.
That's why we were talking about the types of greenhouses. When you're talking about a freestanding greenhouse, it's a big one. When you grow crops in there, you get lots of
yeah, you can get lots of profits.
When you grow crops in a greenhouse, definitely not most of them will go bad compared to the ones that are in the open field. And then also in the open field, remember there are pests and diseases, including elephants,
of which you can use chemicals and
it's fine.
Gladding.
You can use chemicals, but at the end of the day, can you imagine an elephant getting into your farm before you know about gardening?
Okay, let me tell you, we are in a modern world. We are in a modern farming ecosystem. So in an open field, you are telling me about the elephants. Now, for example, I'm the farmer who is growing this kind of crops. I have a knowledge of Garden elephant repellent. So when I take this Garden elephant repellent and put it in my farm, of course, I have eliminated the elephants. If I research enough, let me tell you. Okay, if I research enough about maybe I'm not. You have said about the monkey and the elephants. I've used the Garden repellents. The elephants are no longer in my farm. Again, about the monkeys, I've set up traps for the monkeys. Let me tell you.
Wait a minute. Have you
Let me finish first. Let me finish first.
Trap monkeys.
Let me finish first. I've experienced. I'm from a forest. You know that.
Forest, but I have experienced monkeys.
I've caught monkey with my hand like this.
One or even two.
Not one. We can't even. They are the traditional ways of catching monkeys. There is we call it in our language allocate. Allocate. We put it like it's only sticks. You put a stick and then you tie a rope. Like when the monkey on the trees of the banana trees, mostly they eat the banana trees. But now maybe let me tell you, maybe I've planted in an open field. I've planted that banana trees and others in the skuma wiki. So monkey only concentrate on the banana because they want the banana. Of course, the banana trees are countable. So I'll put in each and every tree. I'll put a certain trap near that trap. We call it allocate. That trap near the banana. So it traps the monkey. Like ahead of the challenge, like before all those things you are saying about, we were talking about the profits, about between the open field and the open field and the greenhouse. The open field, you can harvest many crops through open fields because now I know technology. I know the use of drones. I can monitor my farm. I can know where it needs water. Let me tell you, you can use a drone in the greenhouse.
You can't use a drone in the greenhouse, but you know a greenhouse is big. Now when you get into the greenhouse, definitely there are no pests and diseases. Just like you had mentioned before, do not contradict.
Okay, let me tell you.
Pests and diseases in the greenhouse.
I'm still talking. Yeah, there are no pests and diseases in the greenhouse. I said there are no pests in the greenhouse, and also it limits it reduces the amount of chemicals you use. But I was talking about the open field now.
Okay.
So you can also use, by the way, you can also use drones in the greenhouse, the big greenhouse. if you have a big one. So when I use a drone,
To contradict yourself.
yeah, let me tell you, when I use drone in that open field, I'll be able to monitor. I have a very large field. So through open field, one advantage of open field is that I can grow many crops in that field, and also I can harvest a lot of things from that field compared to greenhouse. So in terms of pests and diseases, yes, they are affecting. Let me finish.
Don't forget,
Let me finish. So when I'm planting when the pests and diseases, you are talking about pests and diseases. Of course, they don't affect the greenhouse, right? But I can use the chemicals in an open field, right? Yes, I can be doing other things with this open field. But at the end of the day, open field produces more profit compared to greenhouses.
Okay. Wacha nikuokote one by one. We talked about spacing. You're the one who mentioned the free-standing greenhouses. Did you say they're big?
Yes.
Good. Now open fields are big, right? Now
Yeah.
These freestanding greenhouses are also big. Can you imagine you have freestanding greenhouses when you even have 100 of them?
Okay, let me tell you, you're talking in terms of bigness. I'm not talking about in terms of big. You know, you can have a small open field and have a big greenhouse. But what we were answering. Let me repeat the question. For us to understand each other, let me see the comments again so that you can know what we are really talking about. Okay, what is the cost? The cost, we are talking about the cost associated using greenhouses as compared to open field. We are talking about the cost, which is more costly and which is not more costly.
When you're talking about the cost, we also have to talk about the profits. Profits is part of the cost.
But now we are talking specifically about the cost, not about the profits. Now let's answer this question so that we can go to the next.
When I talk about when you talk about the cost, this is what we don't only mean the setting up of the greenhouse and also the preparing of an open field land. You don't talk about only that. We also talk about the profits that come after you've planted your crops.
Okay.
Yes. Now the profits of the greenhouse definitely are still remain with the greenhouse farming, because the greenhouse farming, definitely most of them, they don't have pest and diseases. That is one. So you are safe when it comes to that point. You are controlling everything in that greenhouse. I'm just talking about the freestanding greenhouses, because you already mentioned that you're talking about the large scale farming now, because you have big farms, right? Now you say that in the large scale when you're practicing large scale farming and you have big open lands, in that place you'll plant several crops. We can also do that in the greenhouse.
Okay, let me tell you, you're talking about the cost.
Wait, I also gave you your time.
Okay, talk about the cost, not about the size of the farms.
Relax.
Okay.
Yes. We are also planting several crops in these greenhouses. Now, when time for harvesting comes, see, we are harvesting, like, let's assume in your field you planted tomatoes and maybe skuma wiki. And I've also planted tomatoes and skuma wiki. The time for harvesting, I'll have so much. Do you know why? In the open field, you can't control the open field, definitely. If pests are meant to attack, they will attack. And you use chemicals on those pests, maybe some of your crops will be affected. In my greenhouse, have I used any pesticides? No. My crops will just be fine. At the end of the day, I'll get a lot of money from my greenhouse compared to what you'll get. I think at this point we'll argue the whole thing.
No, let me finish first with my point. It is so that it will be fair. So let me tell you. Okay, so you have told me about how many profits you are going to get in that greenhouse. But let me tell you, if you buy that tent, the one that they place in a greenhouse, the white, the opaque material, so when you buy that, you buy maybe 1.something million, right? And then you buy those equipment, technical equipment for measuring temperature, humidity. They can be like maybe 100,000, and then you buy all those stuff. Only the setting of the equipment can cost a half of my field. You see? Let me tell you. Let me finish.
The profits will be so much that I'll even return them.
Let me finish first. Let me finish first. That is very impossible. There is no way you can tell me that your crops will be much than 1 million after setting.
You can't say that will be.
You know what you should say. You know what you should say. You know what you should say? You should say that yes, the first harvest won't have that much because you have spent a lot on the construction, but you will use that greenhouse for years and years, and you will have more returning the cost that you have already used in instructing the greenhouse. But in open field, you only get that profit the moment you harvest your crops.
At this point, I think a greenhouse farmer should help us in the comment section.
Yes.
Ayan is not reasoning like a greenhouse farmer. Ayan is reasoning according to Ayan.
Yeah, you are on the side of greenhouse, I'm in the side of open.
But at this point, you're not reasoning as a greenhouse farmer. I'm trying to be a greenhouse farmer too. Anyway, tell us in the comment section if you're a greenhouse farmer. And try and answer Noah. Mimi bado nimesimama na greenhouse farming. I do not encourage the other one that she.
So yeah, that is for our viewers to tell us about if the cost for greenhouse are much or the open ones are much. So you have to tell us what is the cost associated with greenhouses as compared to open field. So we'll also invite an expert one of these days to tell us about this greenhouse, to tell us the cost associated.
Expert is the best solution to answer her.
Yeah, so we will invite that expert to tell us what is the cost associated with using greenhouses as compared to open field. And then there is another question. Another question is, are there any specific crops that can be grown in greenhouses?
Yes, we already said that first of all, you can't grow onions in your greenhouse. The only crops I've seen surviving in a greenhouse are, first of all, tomatoes. Tomatoes can do well in a greenhouse. I think I've also seen spinach.
Yeah, spinach are doing well in greenhouses. Even potatoes can do well in greenhouses.
But don't say that we told you to grow onions in a greenhouse.
Or trees. You can't grow trees in the greenhouse. Maybe the small ones, maybe the seedlings. I think I've seen seedlings being grown in a greenhouse, but you can't grow the tall trees. You want your tree to grow tall, it will tear the greenhouse.
Yes, so actually, definitely there are specific types. One of them is tomatoes, another one is spinach. I think sukuma wiki can also survive in a greenhouse, but let me emphasize, don't grow onions in your greenhouse. Is there any other comment?
Not really.
Okay. We'll continue with the technology. I think each and every time we are having a topic, we have to mention technology because tuko kwa hii generation Z, the current generation, we just know about technology. We don't know the traditional ways. The first one I already mentioned, the automated irrigation. It's cheaper actually. Okay, not only cheaper. You don't use so much labor, you don't use so much energy when you're into the automated irrigation because maybe it's just something that you just set up.
Yeah.
You just your work is just switching on maybe the switch, and then imagine amwagika to the irrigation just continues.
Yeah, and
you don't use so much energy.
Yeah, we have climate control system. These are mainly used to monitor the humidity, temperature inside the greenhouse. So they can automatically adjust factors such as heating, cooling, and ventilation. So by using this climate control system, you are able to control everything that is in your greenhouse. Maybe the temperatures are very high, you reduce them, or you put them in the medium position, or maybe the humidity is high, you lower the humidity. So through this climate control system, you'll be able to control these factors inside your greenhouse to ensure that your crops are growing well.
That's a modern way, which is very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah. So through the use of these sensors, they can sense when the temperatures are high, when the humidity is high, or they can also automatically adjust the factor. So the moment they sense that the temperature is getting high, they adjust the temperature automatically. Hence, the temperature becomes the minimum temperature, the temperature that is good for the crops.
Do you feel that's a good thing?
Don't go back to that discussion. Don't go back to that discussion. Can you just continue in peace?
No, do you think it's a good thing?
I think we can invite the expert. I can't answer that question.
Tell me yes or no, because you've explained it so.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I win at the end of the day. We have artificial lighting. Lights such as LED grow lights can supplement natural sunlight, enabling plants to grow faster and healthier. I can see you're very attentive. I would take in Kushinde.
No, it's not about. This is not even about winning. It's just about educating the farmers outside there. Yeah, but through this discussion of ours, the arguing, we are trying to also bring our viewers in.
But on a light note, you're very. I just thought that you're not so keen and attentive, dear. You see what you're.
I was keen. I was keen on what you're asking me, and that is a very good thing because now in the next show we'll go and discuss and know what really greenhouse is and what really open field is.
And also you can help us answer now in the comment section, because
Yes.
for us I think we have argued and we've not reached the solution, because Ayan thought that her point is the best, and also me, I think greenhouse is the best.
So through that we can bring an expert one of these days, so that you also have to know what are these costs. And as a farmer, everybody has his or her standing.
I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait for that expert.
Me too.
And disapprove some people. Lights such as LED grow lights can supplement natural sunlight, enabling plants to grow faster and healthier. And these lights can also be used to extend the growing day, or to grow plants entirely indoors. So such lights can help to choose the growing day. In the open fields, when you practice farming in the open fields, you can't choose the growing day of a plant. But now let's assume you have your tomatoes. You know you planted them today, and you know what you can do for them to grow faster. I think that's why this artificial lighting is so important. And then you don't have to use the sun the moment you have the artificial lighting.
Yes, you know, when you have this artificial light, you can adjust to the requirement of your crops. If there is high light, then and the plants require low light at that point, you can be able to adjust.
Yes.
Yeah, and again we have hydroponics and aquaponics. When you hear hydroponics, what comes into your mind?
I don't want to think hard at this point. Just explain to us.
Like hydro, water. So when you hear hydro, that is water, hydroponics. So hydroponic are plants that are growing in nutrient-rich water. So the water are enriched with nutrients. So when there are enough nutrients in this water, they grow plants inside that kind of water. So the plants grow while consuming the nutrients. So through that, the plants even grow even healthier because they are consuming this water. And then there is aquaponics. When you hear aquaponics, what comes into your mind?
You just explain to us.
Okay, for me,
You know why I'm insisting you explain to us. I'm still on Noah's point. I want to see how you are explaining the greenhouse part
Okay.
very well.
Okay, let's just leave that discussion for another time. So the aquaponics, when you hear the aqua are the animals living in water, like for example fish. So in aquaponics, it combines with fish farming, using the waste from the fish as a plant fertilizer. So you grow plants and fish in the same place. So the fish excrete, there is the waste that they remove. So these waste from the fish enables the plant to grow well.
I know of a farmer who had a greenhouse. He had a greenhouse. I think it just went down due to poor management. He had a greenhouse, and then next to that greenhouse, he had a fish pond.
Wow.
I think he thought really well, but now due to poor management, nothing worked. At the end of the day, the fish pond dried up. And then I just saw the greenhouse tearing. Yes, so management is very important so that you don't be... don't go. I don't shame anybody, but management is very important.
Yeah, make sure that your management is in a good place. You can be able to manage your crops well. And again, this type of technology, that is hydroponic and aquaponic, is very important to certain types of farming. And if you want to plant your crops in aquaponics, if you are able to rear fish, then well and good. So the waste from these fish can be used as fertilizers for your crops. So you can take this water that contains the waste and then pour them on your plants. So through that they are enriched with these nutrients, therefore growing even more healthy. And the hydroponics, when you supply enough nutrients to the plants, to the water, and then grow your plants in that water, your plants are likely to grow even more. I remember when you told me about, I don't know, your mother or who was growing the crops in water, only water without soil. And we were arguing.
I was telling you about soaking maize.
Yes, and we were arguing if they are going to grow without soil.
They are growing.
Yes.
Yes.
Now that is hydroponic. That is a type of hydroponic. Yeah.
Okay. We have data analysis. Farmers can collect and analyze data about their crops to optimize growth and yield. This can include data about growth rates, yield, disease incidence, and the effectiveness of different strategies.
Yeah.
This is where planning comes in. When you plan, you also have to know that part of your planning at some point you'll need data, so that you know at this point I've planted how many crops in this greenhouse, which type of crops, which type of diseases are likely to attack them. At the end of the day, when I'm harvesting, how much should I expect? So having that data analysis is very important.
Yeah.
Back then, in the traditional days, because now we are in the modern days, in the traditional days, farmers back then never really were keen on data analysis. But nowadays, now with the greenhouse farming, data analysis is very important, so that you know how much will I make after I've planted seeds worth 5,000.
Yeah.
Yes. What kind of diseases are likely to attack my tomatoes when I have my tomatoes in the greenhouse?
Yeah, so collecting large chunks of data is very crucial towards farming practices, such as when you're practicing this greenhouse farming. So when you collect all the data about your crops, everything around that greenhouse, you are able to determine what I need to do. You realize that when you analyze your data very well, you get the solution to all your problems. If there are certain pests that are affecting crops in your greenhouse, you analyze, you take these pests, you write down, maybe there are parts that you need to repair in your greenhouse, what your greenhouse needs. So you make sure that you analyze everything, you collect all this data, and this will make you solve all the problems that you are facing.
Do you have any other point?
Yeah, we have vertical farming. That is another type of technology. So in vertical farming, growing plants in stacked layers within a greenhouse. This is like growing plants in stacked layers within a greenhouse. So you have just put you have secluded a certain place where you're growing maybe your spinach or carrots. You are growing your spinach or carrots in a certain place, and then you ensure that there are layers and layers of stacked within that greenhouse to ensure that your crops are growing well.
Okay, I think at this point we've learned a lot from today's topic. Today we were discussing about greenhouse farming, and we had a very heated argument that I still need an expert to prove one of us wrong when you compare the cost of the open field and the greenhouse farming. Actually, I'll still stand with my greenhouse farming as she still stands with the open field farming. We've discussed the advantages of greenhouse farming, the challenges of greenhouse farming. We said everything that has an advantage must always have a disadvantage. And if you already know the disadvantage, you must always have a solution to it.
Yeah, and you know, every farmer has what is best for him. When you say that this is best for me, let's stick by it. If you have already experienced that this is working for me, this kind of farming is working for me, maybe you tell me that agroforestry is working for me, or greenhouse farming is working for me, or open field farming is working for me. So someone concentrates on something that is working for him. If you see that greenhouse has a lot of challenges, or open farming has a lot of challenges, then choose something that you are very capable of controlling.
Yes, remember that what works for your farm might not work
for another
farm. So yes, You've also learned about types of greenhouses and also the technology that we nowadays use in our greenhouses. I think today we had so much. We had so much to share with you, and I hope that by now you've already learned a lot about whatever we have talked about. You can also help us in the comment section about the discussion that we are having. You can tell us the question that Noah asked brought a heated argument. Now you can tell us whose side are you on.
Yeah, and again, you can follow us on our social media handles, on our social media sites. You can find us on Instagram at Farmers Media, on Facebook at Farmers Media, on YouTube at Farmers Media, on our website at www.farmersmedia.com.
Okay, I don't know if you have your last words at this point because I always say that you're wise. Now, before I get to jog your minds with the proverb, you can maybe tell us if you have your last words.
Yeah, for me, what I can tell farmers right now is that a farmer is an optimistic person, and if you are an optimistic person, make sure that what you do covers your actions. What you do covers your action, and make sure that you are a passionate farmer. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so much for watching our lives. And thank you again.
Yes, today we have our proverb of the day. So our proverb of the day is, if you eat, you're in agriculture. If you eat, you are in agriculture. So that's all we had for you this morning. Still mid-morning. That's all we had for you this morning. We really appreciate those who sent their comments and feedbacks. We still encourage you to go back and watch our shows. If at all you need to learn something about greenhouse farming and you are not able to tune in, you can still go back and watch. The videos will always be there on Facebook and YouTube. I'd like to appreciate those who are behind the scenes. That is the producer and the director, Dotrin. She loves it when I call her Doti. So I'd like to appreciate Doti, who was our director, the producer, the camera person. Thank you so much for making this happen. Thank you so much for being with us from 11 a.m. up to now. We really appreciate it. Till next time, we're going to meet again on Monday. Same place, same time. I'll be your host, Mary Oswero. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And I'm Regina Ayanai. Have a lovely day.
The heart of any shamba lies in its soil. Because soil is so precious, it needs to be managed really carefully. A good place to start is with a soil test. This will tell you how healthy your soil is, its pH levels, what type of soil it is, which crops you can grow in your soil, and advice on which fertilizer is best to use. If you follow the soil test recommendations, it can boost your yields. So, how do you take a soil test sample? Firstly, dig up soil samples. Use a soil auger or panga to take a sample 1 feet deep in a zigzag pattern across your shamba. You will need at least 10 samples. Mix all the different samples together in a bucket. The soil is now ready to be scanned and tested. You can find out about how to get your soil tested by contacting your extension officer. Alternatively, contact a Ministry of Agriculture research station near you. A soil test costs about as much as 1 bag of maize. You should do a soil test at least every 3 to 5 years. Installing drip irrigation on your farm will save you both time and money. So, how does it work? Firstly, get the right equipment. You will need a tank, drip lines, and a pipe that connects the two. Little holes in the drip lines let water out slowly straight to the crop. This way, the crop leaves stay dry and free from mildew. The tank needs to be raised onto a stand about 1.5 meters high. This will make sure water can flow down with gravity. Drip irrigation can also be easily used with solar power.
The system includes a solar panel of 310 watts. It comes with a solar pump, then together with some fittings to install the pump and deliver water to wherever you want to take water to. Once you install the system, you'll have no monthly charges. In the long run, it's cost effective.
Agroforestry is where you plant trees with crops or on the same land as rearing livestock. This system is climate smart in itself. It helps to conserve soil and water. It makes soils more fertile and can provide food and shade for your livestock. It's also a good way to make extra income from selling wood and timber. Here are some examples of crops, trees and livestock in agroforestry systems. Food crops, pigeon peas, sweet potatoes, green grams, pastures, napier and bracharia, fruit trees, citrus and pawpaws, wood trees, eucalyptus, gravelia and neem, livestock, cattle, sheep and goats. If you're interested in starting agroforestry on your shamba, ask your extension agent for advice or get in touch with iShamba.